Hi everyone, so I thought I'd do a little review for you today. This is the CoverGirl+Olay, the Depuffer Eye Concealer, and the shade I have is in Fair. For reference, my face is around NC10, between NC5 and NC10 kind of shade. So finding concealers that are actually brightening under the eyes is a little trickier. I tend to go for a more of a corrector type shade, and often if I get kind of the light shade in a regular concealer, it will be peachy enough that it actually does a little correcting. So that's just kind of a little bit of a background of what I usually use under my eyes. So Fair is actually a little bit brightening for me and is a little lighter than I would normally get. So if you have difficulty finding a fair enough shade, then this might actually work for you if you want some brightening. So just a little history on my under eye area, the concerns that I have, things I like to address. My under eyes tend to be very dry. I don't have obviously very dark circles, but I do have a little bit of the more kind of purpley blue tones underneath my eyes. I have fairly dark freckles under there, and I have a lot of this kind of concentrated ruddiness right here in the corners of my eyes. So those are the things that I'm trying to just tone down a little, make a little bit more even with the rest of my face. I have a difficult time finding a concealer that won't look cakey under my eyes. So I was watching a video by Kristen Game here on YouTube, and she mentioned that this concealer was quite moisturizing under the eyes. So that's something I'm always looking for. It's a drugstore product, so that made me even more interested to try it out just because the price point was going to be better. It is more expensive than I expected, actually. I was a little surprised when I look at the receipt. I had a $1 off coupon and they had a $1 off sale, and it was still, I think, $10 or $11 at Walgreens. So this is something that I would definitely recommend looking at possibly Target or Walmart to see if you can get a better base price and use a coupon. So I don't have anything on my under eyes today, so I'm gonna go ahead and apply it for you. This is a metal tip applicator, but it is a squeeze tube, so you can control the product to get a little bit more than something like the Garnet Rollerball, which is, you know, has that nice cooling effect. So I just kind of squeeze some out and then glob it on here. I try to not get too much, and then if I need to add more, I'll build it up. And I tend to not use a lot of product under my eyes just because I do have that dryness issues. And it seems to be a lot of product I'm more likely to get that kind of cakey look. So I do blend this with my fingers. I have tried using something, you know, a really dense synthetic foundation type brush. I tried the Sephora, so you can see how bright that is, the Sephora 56, and I actually found the bristles a little pokey when I was trying to blend it, and it felt like it just didn't blend that well, and I needed to go in with my fingers afterward anyway, so it didn't make a lot of sense for me. So I actually put this in that corner of my eye, and this is somewhere that always looks cakey no matter what. Even if I can get my under eye area to not look cakey, that corner, outside corner, always looks dry. And this is the only thing that I found that I can really put product on there and it doesn't look dry. So that's pretty amazing. And just tapping it in, it really gives a very natural looking finish. So I have a little bit more darkness under this eye than this one, so sometimes I do need to add a little bit more, and it seems to build pretty well. I'm able to go in and add another layer and it doesn't start looking funny. It doesn't have a lot of coverage, as you can see, and it's not a corrector, it's just a regular concealer. But if you're looking for kind of a lighter coverage concealer that will give you some moisture, this is amazing. This is the nicest texture I've ever used on a concealer. I thought that Guerlain Precious Light one was really nice, but this is so nice. It's really a pleasure to use. So I'm just gonna add a teensy bit more here. I believe, I'll double check, but I think the instructions said something about like massaging on with the little metal tip for 30 seconds. That does not work for me, it just kind of, it doesn't spread it really, it just kind of drags along my eye, and it's just not very pleasant. So that I find a little strange. But, you know, just kind of slapping it on there with that metal applicator does feel quite nice and cooling. So I think that is good. So you can probably see, let me get the cap back on. Another thing kind of nice about the packaging is that the cap does have kind of a little nubby doodad in there. So it goes inside the hole of the applicator. So I think that helps keep from, you know, the inside of this cap getting goopy because it's oozing out. So you can probably see here that it's a pretty dewy finish, and that's not necessarily the most flattering. Unless you have a very smooth under eye area, then I think it can work fine. But you know, something that my kind of natural shadow is actually not from a bag, but from kind of a divot right here where the kind of plumpness of my cheeks just kind of drops off, and then this is sunken in a little bit. So I feel like it can highlight that ridge between where the, you know, kind of plump area to the more flat area goes. So I definitely prefer to set this with a powder. I did have a little bit of an issue at first trying to find a powder that would work for me, and most things would give me that dry cakey look that I was specifically trying to avoid and was getting from this. So I did find two options that definitely work for me. The one that I use primarily is the NARS Light Reflecting Setting Powder, the pressed version in translucent crystal. So this is a fairly shimmery kind of finishing powder, and you see a swatch there. It's quite shiny. It does have very, very, very small shimmer in it. And at the end of the day, I can see a little bit of shimmer, but only if I get my face right up into a mirror. What I have been using to apply it with lately is this Sigma E40, although this brush I think I'm probably just going to throw away because last time I cleaned it, it was bleeding a ton of dye, which I really do not like. So I just kind of get a bunch on the brush and just kind of sweep it on. And it takes down a little bit of the shine, but it doesn't make it completely matte, and this just wears under my eyes really well. So I'm just going to do one side with that NARS powder, and then so any sort of really kind of very fluffy brush that's not going to apply too much product, I think works. The other thing I've been using is this Hourglass Dim Light, which is too dark for me to wear all over my face. And we'll see how it looks here. Sometimes I feel like it looks too dark. Since this is a much softer product, I do have to be careful to only get a little bit on my brush and then kind of tap off the excess. So both of these powders take down that really dewy look, but are still, oh, it's shedding, still kind of a glowy finish. So it matches up with the rest of my face, which is also not super glowy, but definitely has some sheen. That's the finish I've been going for lately. So I don't know if you can tell, it's a little bit, touch bit darker on this side than this side because this does actually have some color to it. It's kind of a peachy tone, so it's almost a little correcting. I'm gonna go ahead and apply this on this side too, just so that I'm even. But these both wear really well for me. They do not get dry at the end of the day. And I think the finish actually improves for me throughout the day. And last night I had this concealer and powder on for about 8 hours. I was just gonna take my shower and wash my face. And I looked at my under eyes, I'm like, is there still any product there? I couldn't tell just because it looked like skin. So I got a Q-tip with some makeup remover, went under my eyes, and lo and behold, there was a ton of product coming off. So it was just like matched up the rest of my face, which didn't have much foundation left on it. The texture of it just looked really skin-like. So I found that to be super impressive. Now I don't have longevity issues under my eyes like I do on the rest of my face just because it is drier. So products tend to stick there pretty well, but they also tend to become very obvious under there. So to find a combination that looks like skin that I can't even see the makeup on, that's pretty awesome. Okay. So overall, I am so pleased with this concealer. I think it is an excellent option if you're looking for something that doesn't have a ton of coverage but is very moisturizing and isn't heavy enough that it really kind of gets caught up in your creases. I would say if you apply too much, it is going to be pretty noticeable in those under eye creases. But if you put that thin layer on, it really doesn't crease a lot just because there isn't a lot of product there to crease. So I don't know if that makes sense, but I've had less visible creasing with this than I have a lot of other things. I don't know, I've just been pleased as punch with this, and I felt like it definitely warranted its own video. So let me know if you've tried this out or if you are thinking about trying it out. If you have any questions, please let me know in the comments below, and I hope you are having a wonderful day. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you soon.